So these are the Black Rock Lavenet fishing grounds, and they're a defined area, sort of basically either side of the Prince of Wales Bridge. So we're at low tide now, and our fishing spots are starting to be exposed. This first one, between the shore and the Lady Bench Reef, is called the Gut. If you go across the Lady Bench Reef, you see the red beacon there and the Prince of Wales Bridge. There's another gully, and that generally is called what we call Gruggy. Within Gruggy, you've got two other fishing spots called the Lighthouse Veer and the Marl. And then if you pan around then, and you see there's an orange and yellow marker on the bridge, about 200, 300 yards west of that, another fishing spot called the Hole. And then if you travel shoreside there, we've got another fishing mark called the Grandstand.
So you guys would walk out onto these reefs with your lave nets and like see where the water was coming through there. Yeah. You would just stand there with your lave net, would you? And
yeah, we would fish there, and then on certain tides and certain wind directions, we would then go on from fishing the Guts, walk across that reef you see in front of you there, the Lady Bench, and walk to the next gully and fish that gully. The thing is, you've got the second greatest tidal range in the world here, and if you don't come back at the right time, you will drown, because this gully fills up first. You could be over there and there'll be no water, but this gully will be filling up. So you've got to know exactly when to return. We also use a boat, which is moored in season in the bay, it was, and just by there. And the boat makes it easier for the older fishermen to reach the fishing marks and gives you a little bit more time. So
I guess then you guys would pass that knowledge down from generation to generation of like your tide, know your tide? Yeah,
it's all passed down from generation to generation. The older fishermen pass on their skills and knowledge to the younger fishermen, or the newcomers, if you like. But the trouble is, it takes years and years and years and years and many trips to learn exactly, you know, how you do it. You can't get it from a book.
No, of course.
You've got to be able to do it. And the thing is, if you don't get it right, you drown.
I'm sure. I was going to ask you that. I'm sure there's been a few fatalities out here over the years.
There's been people that have had pretty close shaves. Luckily, you know, in my time we've never lost anybody, but there have been a lot of people drowned out here back in the Second World War days. Somebody pinched a salmon boat, some soldiers. They tried to get a couple of local girls to go with them, who refused, luckily. And what they'd done is they took the boat, and the oars were in the boat, and they went down with the tide. There's a little reef you can see just in front of that black mast, the black bedwinds.
Over there,
And it's just starting to show now, and that is called the Monkey Tump. And they landed on the Monkey Tump and went for a little walk around. A lot more of it showing there, a bigger tide. Unfortunately, when they come back to get back in the boat, they hadn't anchored the boat or anything, and the boat had drifted off on the flood tide. So the people from the local villages, what could they do at that time? They sort of just watched them drown. They just got washed away.
Wow, crikey. In terms of the prehistory, Martin, if I went back in time 10,000 years to where we stood now, what would I have seen?
10,000 years, well...
20,000?
Yeah, I mean 20,000 years. So what you would have had, this would have been sort of the water margin. What you'd have had is little islands, little streams, and between the two main spans of the Prince of Wales Bridge, that would have been a river, a small river.
Yeah.
So you'd have had the water margin, you'd have had little islands, and they say that the names of these reefs, Lady Bench and Gruggy Reef, back over there, come from long lost farms.
Right.
So,
oh wow.
You know, I've got a sort of picture. You can see the red marl just there, the cliff that's falling away.
Just there,
and you'll see lines in the sort of mud. So you can see where the cliff has receded. Even in my time, it's gone back perhaps 100 metres.
Yeah.
So there used to be a road, you know, sort of, you know, they keep moving the road back as the cliff goes.
Okay.
So, yeah, it would have been a very different place, you know, 10,000.
And you found evidence of Roman pottery here as well, haven't you?
Yeah, just a little bit further west than the Black Rock Lavenet fishing grounds. From time to time we pick up pieces of Roman pottery, a distinctive grey, black, blue type of pottery. So yeah, I mean, we've got Roman forts in the locality, and they would have used the pills, come in up the rivers, up the estuary and into the pills, and yeah.
Now I did see one of your videos on Facebook. You found was it an auroch horn? Is it called an auroch?
Yeah, the oryx.
Oryx.
The oryx horn. Yeah, probably the best thing, the most popular thing anyway that we've ever found. My brother and I, prior to the lave net fishing season, went walking out again west of the Black Rock lave net fishing grounds, just sort of south of the Black Bedouins. We were way offshore, mile and a half, and as I say, we'd had some unseasonal storms, and what had happened, a pool had sort of cut a gully through the sand, and we could see it sticking out. The end of this oryx horn sticking out, and we dug it out, pulled it out, and there it was. It was, 2.5 foot long, sort of, and they reckon 4,000 or 5,000 years old.
Really?
So, yeah.
It's interesting to think that 4,000 or 5,000 years ago, what I'm looking at now was a marshland with a river running through it. Yeah. And I've also seen on your Facebook pages that you found evidence of drowned forests.
Yeah, you see that sometimes offshore, but lots of evidence closer to shore. We see it, and tree stumps turned to peat,
right.
And some can be quite a way offshore. So
yeah.
Again, it's the evidence of the fact that this was land. I mean, there's no doubt about it. No land and a river, small river running up the middle, what we call the chutes in this area, but the shipping channel. And there's an island just by.
I see it. Yeah.
Corner. That's called the Charleston.
Right. Let's do the Charleston.
Charleston.
Come on.
Charleston. So this is the Charleston rock and Charleston sand. Yeah, just there. So lighthouse marks it to keep shipping off it, but
look at that! Wow! Look how the depth. I'm just getting confused with my words, because I'm actually shocked how high up the lighthouse is to the water level. That's got to be a good, I don't know, 10-meter drop.
This is the second greatest tidal range in the world, and on the biggest spring tides you're talking about close to well over 14 meters rise and fall from low tide to high tide. So it's tremendous, and when you're out there to see the force of the water when it pours into the estuary is a sight to behold.
Yeah, I've seen seen your videos, and the speed in which this tide comes in is very frightening.
Yeah. So yeah. Going back to the sort of sunken forest, they say that men mowed hay on the Charleston Rock in the 1600s, and I used to take it with a pinch of salt. But one day we were out there after a storm, and we found a tree stump turned to peat out there.
Right.
So that was a land, a hill.
So that there, you're saying at some point in history was forested, and they mowed it for hay.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
Definitely.
That's incredible. Look at it. And the interesting thing is, a lot of people that would be walking past or driving past wouldn't even give this a thought, would they? That in prehistory, go back to sort of like the hunter-gatherer times, that all this was marshland with one river meandering through with forests. That is unbelievable.
People lived here, hunted here, and we find the remains of animals continuously out there. And some, as I say, have been dated thousands of years old. So,
it's unbelievable. Well, thank you for the tour, Martin. I really appreciate that. And I hope you guys watching this video do check out the Black Rock Lave Net Fisherman's Facebook page. An absolute wealth of information on the Severn Estuary.